and we will move on quickly to number 6, which is serious and violent crime, another topic that's very much to the fore and in the news. And again, just by way of a bit of context, you know, this is becoming more of a feature within the refreshed police and crime plan, which I'm about to sign off under the title of Major Threats and Serious Violence. We know that the government produced a serious violence strategy last year, but you know, things I would suggest have even moved on since then. And as you know, we have been successful in securing the surge funding, which we mentioned earlier, but also the funding for the Violence Reduction Unit. But in addition to that, it's important just to set out some of the work that's already taken place through the Early Intervention Youth Fund, for example, which were successful in securing over £1 million worth of funding there, and the ongoing Safer Communities Fund, which has funded about 49 groups, receiving funding of over 200,000 since 2018 in various projects tackling violent crime. And also just to say that you know, working with our communities is really important here to fully understand some of the drivers and reasons for the violence at a local level, and that's why I felt it was important to fund a third sector coordinator as well, to regularly meet with partners and make sure we are engaging at a very local level. So thank you. Yeah.
Chris?
Okay, good afternoon. I'll just give you then a brief summary of the West Yorkshire Police response and the outcomes that we've achieved utilising Home Office surge funding to tackle and prevent serious violent crime. Just to reaffirm, the Home Office primary objective was to reduce serious violence in public spaces with a focus on reducing knife crimes committed against young people. And the key measures of success at a national level, which will become relevant later, are a reduction in hospital admissions for assaults with a knife or sharp object, a reduction in knife-enabled serious violence, and a reduction in all non-domestic homicides, especially amongst those victims aged under 25. The governance has remained the same throughout for Operation Gemlock, the West Yorkshire Police response, with Damon Solly having responsibility at superintendent level for oversight on serious violent crime and knife crime enforcement within the force, working with SPOCs in each of the 5 policing districts, and Chief Inspector Pete Hall currently has responsibility for the tactical delivery of the Operation Gemlock high visibility patrols, working with the 6 dedicated sergeants. The Home Office set us 4 key areas to work within, the first one being prevention and enforcement activity. So up to the 5th of February, Operation Gemlock had provided an additional 7,920 uniformed officers deployed across the force, resulted in 57,550 additional hours of high visibility prevention and enforcement activity. And there's also been an additional 1,100 officers deployed on proactive robbery operations and dedicated robbery investigation cars, which resulted in over 7,500 hours of additional policing dedicated to robbery prevention and investigation. Resources are deployed utilising up-to-date daily intelligence packages that contain details of offenders wanted for serious violent crime or linked to serious violent crime, which has resulted in a significant increase in arrests and best use of stop and search with no recorded adverse community impact. And the Operation Gemlock officers are deployed from 3 sites within West Yorkshire. Results up to the 5th of February, just some highlights: 2,272 arrests, 1,600 additional stop and search encounters, 4,023 additional intelligence reports, and 147 weapons being recovered off the streets. The second key area was individuals and groups, looking at intelligence and targeting. So offenders who were arrested and identified as members of organised crime groups are prioritised, and consideration given to apply to the courts for serious crime prevention orders where it's applicable. And the officers deployed on the prevention and enforcement activity are focused by analysis and tactical elements, targeting offenders who have committed serious violent crime, whilst providing visibility in communities that have been identified as violent crime hotspots. Third key area was an investigative response. West Yorkshire Police Serious Violent Crime Problem Profile and Home Office Statistics identified street robberies as an area requiring focus and additional resources in West Yorkshire to reduce the number of offences disrupt and arrest offenders and safeguard victims. Leeds, Bradford and Kirklees districts have deployed a dedicated response and investigation robbery car on a daily basis, resulting in an additional 916 officers deployed on proactive robbery operations. That resulting in 6,100 additional hours of policing dedicated to robbery prevention and investigation with those 3 projects. And also individual complex investigations that might sit with Protective Services crime have also been supported with Operation Gemlock funding to meet the cost of overtime forensics and case building that have been occurred. And finally, the 4th key area was equipment and technology. As part of the funding, West Yorkshire Police invested in enhanced software packages for use by the Protective Services crime analysts, which has reduced their effectiveness by up to 70%. And another investment has been in additional knife archers, effective with mobile metal detectors that have been deployed across the force in hotspots and transport hubs to reassure the public and successfully remove weapons from the street on occasions. Briefly in relation to firearms, that was a specific question. The number of firearms related incidents for the 12 months to December was 431. That's 94 less than the 12 months to December 2018. Gun crimes in 12 months to December 2019 totaled 687. That's 112 less than the previous 12 months to December 2018. And firearms discharges also reduced in the same period from 275 to 253, a reduction of 22. Working towards the Home Office serious violence strategy, tackling county lines of the misuse of drugs. We work very closely with the Regional Organised Crime Unit to monitor and map organised crime groups and urban street gangs. We're involved in county lines and drug supply, both within West Yorkshire and into other counties. And Operation Precision Team for Protective Services Crime were represented at the Violence Reduction launch event last week, as you will be aware.
Yeah.
In relation to serious violent crime and knife crime, we do work closely with the Crown Prosecution Service and youth offending panels, seeking to use out-of-court disposals where circumstances of the offending allow and there are no aggravating factors. However, where young people commit offences of serious violence and knife crime, we will follow the Crown Prosecution Guidelines and seek charging advice in accordance with those guidelines. And as you will be aware, through the Violence Reduction Unit, Commissioner have utilised the Home Office funding to fund numerous multi-agency projects across all 5 districts targeting early intervention and disruption aimed at young people under 18. Again, looking at early intervention and prevention as part of the Home Office serious violence strategy. A couple of key examples: utilising the VRU funding, Leeds districts are working closely with St Giles Trust and the existing liaison and diversion provision to provide early intervention and support young people in custody who are being involved in violent crime. Calderdale District have produced an educational video around the dangers of knife crime in partnership with local pupil referral unit attendees, which again was at its first showing at the Violence Reduction Unit launch last week. Wakefield District are running an innovative Communicate to Educate initiative, combining a model of assessment and intervention that looks at speech and language needs of a young person to improve the communication and literacy skills and education aspiration and attainment needs. Kirklees are working with Yorkshire Mentoring, providing early intervention and education of young people who have experienced trauma in their lives and can often make poor choices. This improves their behaviour, enabling them to react to suppressed emotions that put them at risk of violent crime. And Bradford is building on the successful intervention project Breaking the Cycle, an intensive intelligence-led initiative recently expanded to include a youth worker, an educational social worker, 2 further youth workers and a specialist drugs worker and nurse practitioner. And then just in relation to supporting communities and partnerships, all 5 policing districts have conducted test purchase operations using police cadets, testing large supermarket franchises and smaller retail outlets in relation to the sale of knives to people under 18. In Leeds in January this year, 36 stores were visited and only 1 store failed that test, and they were provided with training for staff. And also in Kirklees in January, 23 premises were visited, resulting in just 1 knife being purchased. Again, training standards and police provide awareness. As you'll be aware, we've looked at adopting weapon sweeps. One was conducted in January 2020 in South Leeds with neighbourhood officers, local volunteers from the retail sector and the Leeds City Council, and you also attended that, Commissioner, as well. There were no seizures, but the sweep was well received by crowds of people present. And then finally, since the inception of Operation Gemlock in April 2019, There's been some notable progress. Some of the key highlights would be hospital admissions for injuries with a knife or sharp object are down 10%. Knife-enabled serious violence is down 9%. Knife crime victims under 25 are down 12%. Non-domestic homicides are down 13%. Robbery is down 11.8%. And robbery involving a sharp implement is down just over 17%. And I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
So I think it's important to know, and I always say this at this juncture, that we've spent a number of years getting our crime recording into an outstanding position. We were previously criticised in 2014 by HMRC. We're the only metropolitan force to have an outstanding grade in that, and we're one of only a few forces to maintain a really good quality. I say that because you can understand from the public's perception that in some of these areas there's high crime per thousand population. I'm really confident and absolutely adamant that actually it's a far better place to live, work and play in West Yorkshire than a lot of other metropolitan places. But we've got the crime recording right, we've got a period of stability now, and the bit that the team should be very, very proud of is with the assistance of the surge money and the work that's ongoing and the work with some of the initiatives you've funded, Commissioner. We're in a really good place to tell the public that homicide is down, that gun discharges are down, that the use of firearms in crime is down, that the use of knives in crime is down, that injuries to young people are down. But we want to sustain, build that and take it further. And hence my looking forward to the violence reduction unit as that comes online to see what long-term sustained reductions we can have across West Yorkshire. But the frontline officers and staff are absolutely adamant and committed to this area of work. But it's been hard work, and you should be commended for what you've achieved so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, John. There's been some really excellent results so far as a result of that surge funding activity over the past 12 months. We're right to expect good outcomes from the violence reduction unit, but that, for obvious reasons, is longer term because of the prevention and intervention work that needs to happen that shows better outcomes a bit further down the line. And of course, when you look at the Glasgow model, that's been a 10-year sort of journey, but I'm hoping we can certainly achieve some good outcomes before then. But no, it's encouraging that we've got the public health approach, and as you know, we had a really good meeting on Friday at the Partnership Exec Group as well, with some excellent presentations at that meeting as well. I just wanted to touch on, and again it comes back to this theme of sort of outcomes through the criminal justice element of this. It's just to ask, because you talk about in the report some complex case building, and it's just looking at what, as a result of that, additional support has been put into some of those back office functions that try and ensure that we do get better outcomes through the criminal justice process.
Yeah, of course. Well, we recognise from the start that putting additional resources out on the streets and arresting more people being the intention, that we were going to create bigger demand on investigation teams, and likewise following on from that we would have developed an increase on demand on the criminal justice support units that we've got within the force. So part of the original budget and spending plan approved by the Home Office was specifically for overtime and increased resilience by case builders, criminal justice, and we did speak with the Crown Prosecution Service as well just to get their take on it. So we did put that in place right from the very start, and they have utilised some of those funds for overtime to make sure that we didn't get a backlog, and we did process all criminal justice cases in a timely manner.
And that's definitely yielding good progress, is it?
Yeah.
Right, thank you. You also referenced the liaison and diversion. As you know, this is now based in all our custody areas throughout West Yorkshire regarding referrals. But I think there may only be a small proportion through through that scheme, and it's just really seeking assurance around what West Yorkshire Police are doing to try and get liaison and diversion more appropriately involved with some of the referrals with regards to the data and for that to be better understood by not only West Yorkshire Police but the some of the, you know, the partners and the volumes that are being dealt with.
Yeah, well, just to reassure you, liaison and diversion are embedded in all 5 custody areas across the force. The pilot project that we've got in Leeds working with St Giles's Trust works really well with liaison and diversion because they are the avenue into the custody area for that pilot project. What we are looking at as well in relation to actual diversion in the custody area and engagement in there is looking at those offenders that are subject to voluntary attendance as well, because not everybody gets booked into custody. So we're looking at expanding how we can get those referrals through voluntary attendance as well.
Yeah, no, that's good, and you know, as you know, it's a good resource that we've got there, and it's just trying to make sure we get better use.
That sort of more higher end, the more serious end is where that L&D and the groups that Chris is talking about, but also across Leeds they've just launched the chance to change alternative provision as well, which is a form of liaison and diversion, not necessarily for the higher end of crime, but those crimes that harm societies as well. So we'll look at how that develops over the coming months and years as well.
Yeah.
We did have a meeting with liaison and diversion director Clint. We had a meeting last week just to discuss plans. Obviously, I'm anticipating that now they know the bidding process, they will be bidding for additional funds for the next 12 months.
Okay, good. Just moving on to, there's a reference later on in the report regarding organised crime groups, and it's really just taking into consideration that prisons within West Yorkshire are classed as hotspots as well, and potential breeding grounds for developing organised crime groups. It's just what work is being done to address and improve our work to take prison crime and reduce the risks represented.
I mean, we've got a prison, dedicated prison crime team based in Leeds that covers not just Leeds but looks at the other prisons. We've got engagement and single points of contact with all of the other prisons. We've obviously got the offender management hub as well. So it's important that we work alongside the prisons. However, I would say, as the Chief Constable would know, the prison governors have got significant powers and responsibility over investigations and oversight of what goes on within their walls. They've got a responsibility for both policing and society to ensure that they deal with what they can. So it is a balance that we need to assist them, we need to work with them, we need to get that rehabilitation from inside to outside, definitely. But I need to make sure that our resources that should be solving the crimes of streets in West Yorkshire are not dragged into the prison to solve some of their issues, some of which are caused by their own staffing levels, their own cuts, their own shortages. But there is a significant amount of work ongoing, so don't misinterpret my comments. We are working with them and helping them in that prison team at the high end of crime. But I repeat, they've got a part to play as well in prevention and investigation, as well as enforcement and punishment, if that doesn't sound too much of a peculiar thing. But
no, I mean, I totally agree, but I think I'm right in saying I think we've got some joint funding arrangements in place, haven't we, which, as we know, the Governor of Leeds Prison in particular it is very, you know, it works well with us, but clearly I accept that the prime responsibility for prisoners is the prison, but clearly given the use of technology, and they unfortunately still does find its way still into the hands of some of the nominals. It's, you know, clearly there's a real benefit for us to making sure we cut off any sort of orchestration of crime emanating out of prisons, but to fully take your point, John, regarding the prime responsibility.
Leeds we do have some very progressive work ongoing with some of the drugs-free wings and things like that, so it's good.
Good, and then final question for me around the, I was pleased that the domestic abuse element was sort of factored into our criteria around the violence reduction unit funding, and again it's just seeking some comment regarding the strategic level work between Force Leeds, serious violence, domestic abuse. to ensure that we've got a complementary sort of approach and strategy around this.
Yeah, so the Force has a 6-weekly tasking meeting that's chaired by SCC Ridley. The Safeguarding Governance leads, Criminal Justice leads and myself as a Serious Violent Crime lead attend that. As part of that process, serious violent crime and domestic abuse strategies are discussed and any areas of concern are highlighted. And a large volume of domestic abuse offences, whilst investigated by specially trained officers in domestic abuse units, wouldn't necessarily meet the strict definition of serious violent crime. However, what we've also got is that the Strategic Safeguarding Board and Local Police and Governance Board, which cover domestic abuse and serious violent crime, included in the reporting mechanisms, are chaired by the same Chief Officer. So we've got the joined up there between serious violent crime, Operation Genlock, and the safeguarding/domestic abuse process.
So we're confident we avoid duplication wherever we can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane?
You mentioned in the paper the link with the university and development of predictive analytics, right place, right time. So we'll look forward to hearing an update on that and whether there's some value in sharing across to the VRU to inform their intelligence picture. Yeah,
that's okay. I mean, we did some work with Huddersfield University and we were looking to expand that. We've not got as far with the VRU funding as we would have thought, with the Genlock funding this year, but we have got the connections with universities to be able to build on that, yeah. We've not got as far as we would have liked with it this time around.
Okay, fine. Thank you for that report and update. Some excellent work going on, and we need to continue with that to make further improvements.